Last time on D&D. Distraction! As Corona keeps Cruel out of the tower, Mirth begins her own solo recon mission to find out where Arkin, and more importantly, the Hand, is located. As Mirth's eyes adjust to the dim torchlight inside the tower, she sees a dozen or so shambling bodies shuffling around a throne made of dragon bones and scales. Mirth flies above the shambling horde and heads to the next floor. This floor is chilling to the bone and eerily silent. A dozen corpses of various creatures rest upon stone tables. Before heading to the next floor, Mirth decides to search around for anything useful. She initially finds a satchel of 4 healing potions and a scroll of greater invisibility, before knocking a vial of chemicals to the floor, causing a toxic cloud. She struggles to breathe as the toxic cloud chokes her lungs. As she stumbles away from the toxic cloud, she feels something grab her wrist. As she looks down, she sees one of the corpses has her wrist firmly grasped. Mirth is thrust into a vision where this corpse, while alive, was being forced onto an altar with a withered hand around its neck. The man screams in pain as green bolts of energy course through his body from the hand. As the man dies, Mirth is thrust out of the vision and regains her composure. Mirth continues looking through the room where she finds a monocle with a gem for a lens attached to a stick of some kind. Having had enough of this floor, Mirth heads up the stairs. As Mirth climbs the stairs, she hears the sound of flesh being cut and the smell of flesh being burnt. She sees a group of white, winged creatures surrounding a golem made of flesh of many different beings. The winged creatures pour a vial of liquid onto the golem and wait and watch for its reaction before beginning the process again. Not wanting to be seen or heard, Mirth moves on to the next floor. The smell of acid floods her nose as she sees a young black dragon in a pool of bubbling acidic water to the east on this floor. Seeing nothing of value, she proceeds to the next floor. The walls on this floor are covered with etchings of lightning. Mirth sees a pile of thousands of gold coins next to which a young blue dragon is carving images of a larger and a smaller dragon into the wall with its lightning breath. Suppressing her greedy urges, she heads upstairs. This floor is slightly more calm, and dozens of different chromatic dragon eggs are spread out across the floor in this room. Mirth quickly fantasizes about having a little dragon companion and keeps this room in her mind for later. The next floor is covered in about 3 feet of dirt with small trees and bushes littered around this floor. In a clearing in the middle of the room rests a young green dragon. Mirth sees the dragon and her first thought is, there's got to be a hat under there. Avernus is having no effect on her judgment. While her fantasy changes from a dragon companion to a dragon companion with a hat, she heads upstairs. The next floor is laid out differently than the others, in that it is broken into 2 different sections. The first section is guarded by a red dragon wormling who is laying atop a stone table with a fire burning underneath. Mirth would need to sneak by this dragon in order to reach the door to the other section. Not wanting to risk it, Mirth heads upstairs to the next floor. This floor is decorated as if it were a temple dedicated to Tiamat. Multiple frescoes and carved reliefs of the 5-headed dragon adorn the walls of this floor, which is broken down into 2 hallways. Mirth first climbs the ladder which leads to the roof and opens the hatch for a quick escape route. She heads back down and begins exploring this temple-themed floor. Mirth first finds the kitchen and is surprised to see a red dragonborn chained to the wall in this room. She calls out to him and the dragonborn jumps, not knowing where the voice is coming from. Mirth asks the dragonborn who he is, and he says that he is Orkin, Arkin's brother. Orkin explains that he wasn't as dedicated to the cause as Arkin and wanted to pursue his own interests, but his brother wouldn't allow him to leave, but he also couldn't bring himself to kill him. Mirth instructs Orkin to get into her bag of holding, and he does so and then pops his head out to tell her not to go into the altar room down the other hall. Tiamat has a special connection to that room and may alert Orkin to her presence. Heeding Orkin's advice, Mirth decides to explore the other rooms instead. She heads into the room directly across from the kitchen, which happens to be a library, filled with every book one could imagine on the different aspects of dragons. While searching the room, Mirth finds a scroll of Dominate Person and a book on how to mate with dragons that Mirth slips into her bag of holding. She goes into Arkin's bedchamber and examines his desk, which contains a journal entry detailing his struggles with asserting his will over the hand. Mirth also manages to find an assortment of potions and an amulet inside a chest, and 2 different sets of armor within an armoire. Satisfied with her investigation of this floor, Mirth heads back down to the dragon hatchery, where she picks a white dragon egg and shoves it into her bag of holding, handing it to Orkin to take care of. She then heads to the green dragon hat room and devises a plan to get said hat. Mirth tosses a piece of rubble against the back wall, which causes the green dragon to go investigate. Mirth spots a patch of freshly moved earth and starts digging with her hands to unearth the irresistible hat treasure. However, Mirth was not meant for excavation, and the dragon starts heading back to its resting spot. In a bid to buy some more time, Mirth grabs a bell from her bag and tosses it down the stairs. This causes the dragon to rush towards the stairs, making Mirth dodge out of the way of the dragon's feet. Having successfully retrieved the chest from the earth, Mirth decides to get while the going is good and leaves the tower through the hatch on the roof. Mirth heads back to Corona and taps him on the shoulder to let him know that she is out of the tower. Corona and Cruel finish broing it out, and they both head back to the other adventurers to discuss their next plan of action. They now know that Arkin is not within the tower and at some type of monument not far from there. However, despite protests from Eminem, the adventurers decide to wait to confront Arkin until they are more powerful, and decide to investigate the oracle told to them by Rosalia, who is probably dead now due to the actions of the adventurers, but at least they will find a way to break their contract with Zariel. As the adventurers arrive at the Bone Brambles, they see a thick, corrupted maze-like forest which they will have to traverse if they wish to visit the oracle. And Dormu is able to figure out that one of the entrances will not lead them to where they need to go, so the adventurers decide to enter the forest through an opening on the east side. As they make their way through, the adventurers come to a crossroads. They decide to keep heading straight, but come to a dead end. As they try to leave, 4 corrupted dryad spirits attack the adventurers, leaving several members of their party unconscious before the spirits are finally defeated. The adventurers tend to their wounds and continue onward. What other beings reside in this forest? Will the adventurers make it out alive? Tune in next time for some more D&D!